was
Said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Is he?
Oh, man. You look at Anthony Joshua. He looks like a superhero.
Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen.
Joe Rogan made amusing predictions on Jake Paul's plans to face Anthony Joshua in 2026 in a recent episode of his show. Paul may be delaying his schedule, so he may take drugs before taking on the former heavyweight champion, Rogan said.
Wow, guy, though. Holy man. The way he took out Anthony Joshua.
I know.
Yeah, Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's.
Said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like, what about now?
Yeah.
They're like, what about fight him now?
now.
He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026. Like, okay.
To put on weight.
Put all the steroids, every steroid
Whatever.
they have.
I would watch.
Snake
Here's
venom,
the thing. I would
scorpion
watch
venom.
it.
Oh, by the way,
Scorpion venom.
Rollo reached out to me, John Rollo, my boy, and he sells this blue scorpion shit. He wants to get you some, Jordan.
I'll have some.
All right, I'll have him send you some.
Get on
I'll
Take
take some
quadruple
too.
doses like a...
Yeah,
We'll see
do
what
it.
happens. I'm going to start slow. I want to find out if I get poisoned.
Yeah, just
What the fuck are we doing? We're drinking venom from scorpions?
it is weird.
That's weird. He's got the dopest head.
Joshua's power and body have long been appreciated by Joe Rogan. He recently claimed that Joshua's strong physique and amazing strength inside the ring make him appear like a Superman. Joshua stands out from many other boxers because to his athleticism and diligent conditioning. He is one of the most admired fighters in the sport because of his supremacy in the heavyweight class.
Like boxers today, if you look at like Anthony Joshua, who's the heavyweight champion of the world now.
Is
You
he?
look at him, yeah. He's a English fellow. He's a tank. I mean,
Is he?
Oh, man. You look at Anthony Joshua, he looks like a superhero.
Do those guys have as much stamina as these guys do, though?
Oh, yeah, they do
Oh, they
today.
did?
Yeah, because the conditioning methods that they have today are just so superior. They understand rest and recovery, and they monitor
see.
your heart rate, and they're monitoring lactic acid buildup. And
Jake Paul has been competing against famous boxers, but what if he chooses to take on an MMA opponent? Although his bouts with previous champions have already garnered a lot of attention, entering the MMA scene would provide a whole other set of difficulties. He may even want to fight Joe Rogan at some time, according to certain conjectures.
Things didn't work out in boxing for Jake Paul. Who's he going to fight in MMA?
If he fought Joe Rogan, that'd be the greatest selling fight of all time.
Joe Rogan?
And that'd be a good fight. I think Rogan would beat him.
That's insane. You're crazy.
In MMA? Have you seen Joe's kicks?
Joe,
Bam! One to Jake's face, he's dead.
I've seen the spinning kicks, but Joe's like 70 years old now. He's like 3 feet shorter than Jake Paul. He's a blob.
One DMT trip right beforehand, he'll see every punch Jake's gonna throw.
No matter how many cold plunges or sauna trips Joe takes, he won't be prepared for a fight again.
Jake Paul has made himself the focus of attention in combat sports by calling out great warriors.
that.
Well, it'd be cool just to be like, why does it have to be like, hey, I need to beat you at MMA? You are a kickboxer.
Right.
You are an MMA fighter. It's two different sports.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, but it's like exciting to see. Like,
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
Yeah.
See if he could survive the first round in just pure Muay Thai.
Yeah.
No takedowns.
No, I think that clown show is that Jake Paul match. Such a clown show.
What are they doing?
Is he still fighting AD? Is that still going on?
Oh, that one. Yeah, I thought because he's got a PFL contract as well.
Rogan has recognized Jake Paul's ability to knock out opponents, particularly when he used a single blow to knock out a previous UFC champion. Rogan said that people would have respected Paul's knockouts more if he had begun his career as a boxer rather than a YouTuber. Instead, his previous status as an internet celebrity has left many fans doubting his skills despite his achievements.
Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul if he wasn't this YouTube guy. He was just a boxer. And you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. Knock him out with one punch like that. You'd be like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? If it wasn't that big YouTube star, and you just saw him as a boxing contender, you'd be like, that dude's got dynamite in his hand.
Jake Paul has been warned by Eddie Hearn that he will require insurance if he truly wants to fight Anthony Joshua. It is risky to enter the ring with Joshua since he is a formidable opponent.
Hearn responding to Jake Paul's call out of Anthony Joshua by stating this. He states, Joshua would fight anyone anytime, but warn Paul about the risk. If Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. And let me counterpunch. Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen. Because, Eddie pretty much, calls the shots. He makes the play. Anthony Joshua's interested. Now, Eddie Hearn is stating that he's interested. So that means, hey, why not wait? Why wait to 26? Why not this year in 25? And that means that he is very comfortable with putting Anthony Joshua in there with Jake Paul. And if I was Eddie Hearn, people, counterpunching this statement, I would too. Because this is, to me, again, like I've told you guys before, when Jake Paul called out Anthony Joshua, I think he overstepped this.
Paul's decision to fight in 2026 rather than this year has also drawn criticism from Eddie Hearn, who feels that if Paul is sincere, he need to enter the ring sooner rather than later. Hearn's assurance that this fight will take place suggests that talks may already be underway. If both parties are on board, this fight may occur much sooner than anticipated.
And Eddie being that confident by responding the way he did, why wait to next year? Let's do it now, or let's do it this year. That says a lot, man. That is saying a lot about Eddie Hearn. The confidence is there. He wants that fight because Jake Paul is better than people think he is. But can he beat AJ? No. Because one shot from AJ would put Jake Paul on a stretcher, on the gurney. And Eddie, he saw that. He saw it just like I did. Just like I think you guys know. I think Jake Paul is calling him out because he needs another big fight. And calling out Anthony Joshua is a good way to do it. He promised Canelo Alvarez, I promise you, you're going to need me. I promise you, my fight is going to be bigger than yours. Well, who is on that level?
According to Shannon Sharp, Jake Paul has no chance against Anthony Joshua. He made it apparent that he believes Paul is taking on more than he can handle when he added, Anthony Joshua is way too big for you. Could Joshua's size, strength, and experience make him a dangerous opponent? Many people think Paul's struggle might end poorly.
We talk about the elites at their craft. It's not going to happen. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jake fought the closest,
Tyson Fury brother,
Tommy Paul, the closest person to actually
Tommy Fury.
Tommy. If you want to challenge someone with the one loss you have. Take him.
Eddie Atlas has commended Jake Paul for his commitment to becoming a great fighter in spite of the criticism. He recognizes Paul's sincere efforts to get better and compete at a high level. Atlas is aware of the work Paul is putting into his boxing career since he has witnessed a lot of competitors come and go in the sport.
Listen, I don't want to mock it. I know you're going to take me there. I don't want to mock it because anyone gets in the ring, I ain't mocking them. I'm not. And I have a lot of respect for Jake Paul, what he's done, and the way he's done it. He's trained hard to become the best fighter he can be, and he's a work in progress, and he's still working. He's still trying to be better.
In addition to criticizing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul asserted that he was capable of defeating Canelo Alvarez. Given that Canelo is regarded as one of the world's top pound-for-pound boxers, this has angered a lot of boxing fans.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know
he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo.
Stop the tape now.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The thing I respect about Jake Paul is his strategic selection of opponent. The retired NBA player, the mixed martial artist who does not specialize in striking, and a almost approaching 60-year-old Mike Tyson. But Anthony Joshua's skills are 1,000 light years ahead of Jake Paul's. Anthony Joshua, Mr. 28 wins, 25 knockouts, 4 losses. Anthony Joshua has been in the ring with real fighters. His resume speaks for itself. I just have one thing to say. Jake Paul, you can't play boxing. Trust me, just stay in your lane.
The two competitors' disparate weights are one of the main considerations in this match. Anthony Joshua often competes in the heavyweight range of 252-255 pounds, but Jake Paul allegedly weighed 200.2 lbs for his bout against Mike Tyson.
Real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying? The co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, you know, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
Joe Rogan has noted that Anthony Joshua has significantly more experience than Jake Paul and has faced some of the best names in boxing. Paul is still a novice in the sport, while Joshua has experience fighting against top boxers in battles.
He's coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous. Going into that fight, it seems like he believed that he was just going to dominate him. He was so aggressive. He was just in the pocket constantly, just forcing Joshua to go to war. It was wild.
Everybody was like, look, to Joshua, I think you're done.
Right after he knocks out Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, you're back.
Yeah.
Flattened Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, oh, Joshua's back. Look how good he looks.
Paul has come under fire for picking his opponents well. Many people think that he only competes against retired or less skilled opponents to increase his record. There have been claims that Paul only accepts battles he can win because of his latest bout with Mike Tyson, who was 52 years old. There is discussion regarding whether he is actually testing himself based on his choice of opponents. In response to Jake Paul's altercation with Mike Tyson, Joe Rogan expressed his relief that Tyson was unharmed. He also admitted that Tyson benefited greatly from the occasion.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah,
20 and
I think
40.
that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger than life figure in my childhood.
Truly,
and
me
when
too.
I was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world. He was an executioner. Like
Truly.
Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Which fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room, and I met at the same time Muhammad Ali in the green room.
Oh wow,
that was a moment.
Wow,
as a boxing fan,
that's
that was
a
a
heavy
real
moment.
But I remember, and I don't know who it was, and I think it was a 90-second fight, and I went to go see this fight, and Tyson Tyson was fighting, and this guy was doing this stuff before, and he had he had built himself into confidence. And Mike came out afterwards. He was the first one, obviously, and Mike came out afterwards, and I watched his face. I didn't watch Mike. You would normally watch Mike because he's so charismatic and he's coming. You want to see what he's going to do. And I watched the guy's face, and I watched that confidence bleed from his face.
Jake Paul has been under fire from Rampage Jackson for failing to face legitimate opponents. He declared that until he was forced to, he would not fight Paul. Paul's boxing career has been frequently criticized for being old, which implies that he exclusively faces older or less skilled opponents.
But I'm never going to call out Jake Paul again because I saw Butterbean call him out and that looked pathetic. So I'm never going to call out Jake Paul. But I've called out Jake Paul and stuff like that. Everybody calling out Jake Paul. And Jake Paul. I'm not calling out Jake Paul. He won't fight me for another 10 years until I'm too old to get in there. I'm not. Everybody know that's the money fight and stuff like that. But fuck, I don't give a fuck about him.
Just overall, your thoughts on his opponent selection these last few fights?
He's smart. He's smart.
In addition to criticizing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul has claimed that he is capable of defeating Canelo Alvarez. Given that Canelo is among the world's most accomplished and seasoned boxers, many boxing aficionados think this notion is absurd. However, Paul's confidence is unfazed.
Person that if you fight, you're like, I can't believe I'm in the ring with this person, and let's fucking go.
I think Canelo were the two biggest names in the sport and two biggest pay-per-view draws in the sport. I think it would just shut the internet down, and I know I can win. So
you could be
order to get more experience and put on weight. Jake Paul stated that he wants to face Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And of course, Eddie Hearn is already preparing his excuse.
Dude, he's preparing it.
Yeah. That's what he does. He's a weasel. He's a snake. Snake guy right there.
What do you mean he's a weasel?
Man, I don't even know where to begin with him, but he's very two-faced. I think off camera he's on your side, man, you do well, I love what you're doing actually, and I really respect it, and blah blah blah, and you're gonna take this a long way. And then the cameras come on and he's like, you're not that good, da da da, saying all
so he's
this
selling
stuff.
he's selling
It's like a backhanded compliment, or a backhanded diss. The way he words it and shit, he's like, oh, you're average. Well, average isn't that bad. Well, Eddie, what if I called your wife average? You know what I'm saying?
However, Eddie Hearn feels that if Paul is sincere, he should fight this year rather than waiting. Eddie Hearn has been condemned by Jake Paul for being duplicitous. Confronted, he asserts that Hearn is not the same person behind the scenes as he seems on TV. This is simply another illustration of Paul's outspoken character. He has had a complex relationship with promoters.
Jake, what do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough for you to
would you ever do a fight like that?
I feel as though in my career I can't do that.
Out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer.
What he's doing is, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money, and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Champ, we appreciate your time. Yeah. No, we got to give, Nick, put the camera on PT. Yo, PT, man, we appreciate you. Thanks, P, for making this happen. P and Rilla, we appreciate the money team all the time, man. We got, so one time before we go, Floyd, because I'm coming over to the palace. What's in the ceiling? So the fans know what's in the ceiling?
Oh, Chihuly?
Chihuly. Yo, Floyd, thank you so much. We appreciate you, champ. We're coming over to the palace soon, man.
All right, let's do it.
Got you, man. Thank you.
Is he someone you're interested in or no?
Well, if you go back, you got to do your homework. Look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Is he? And Floyd, there were many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever. Period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of?